You know the feeling. Your eyes snap open. The room is completely dark. The house is dead silent. You check the clock, and the glowing numbers tell you what you already dreaded. It's 3 a.m. Your heart is beating just a little too fast. You aren't hungry. You aren't cold. You didn't hear a noise. But your brain is completely, entirely awake. For a lot of people, this is incredibly frustrating. We call it sleep maintenance insomnia. We think our brains are broken. But what if they aren't? What if waking up at 3 a.m. isn't a glitch in your biology, but a feature? Because thousands of years ago, the night was not safe. When the sun went down, humans were no longer at the top of the food chain. To understand why your body wakes you up in the dead of night, we have to go back. Back to a time before locked doors, before streetlights, before cities. We have to look at the terrifying reality of the Paleolithic night and the invisible predators that forced our ancestors to develop a survival alarm that is still ticking inside your DNA right now. Imagine a world where the only light comes from the moon and a small, flickering fire. The year is roughly 40,000 BC. You are sitting on the cold dirt. The wind moves through the tall grass, and every rustle sounds like death. During the day, humans were capable hunters. We had spears, we worked together. We knew the land. But night changed all the rules. Human eyes are poorly adapted for the dark. Our night vision is terrible compared to almost every other predator on Earth. Once the sun dropped below the horizon, humans were completely blind. We couldn't run. We couldn't hunt. We could only hide. And this was a massive problem. Because while we were going to sleep, the real monsters were just waking up. The prehistoric night was owned by creatures that seem like nightmares today. Cave lions, weighing hundreds of pounds more than modern lions, prowled the darkness. Packs of dire wolves hunted in the brush. And then there was the giant, short-faced bear, a predator that could stand 12 feet tall and run down a horse. These animals had night vision. They had incredible senses of smell, and they knew exactly where the humans were. Think about how vulnerable sleep makes you. You are unconscious, lying on the ground, completely unaware of your surroundings for 8 hours. In the brutal logic of the Paleolithic wilderness, an entire tribe sleeping at the same time was a death sentence. If everyone sleeps, no one hears the breathing in the dark. No one sees the glowing eyes just beyond the firelight. The darkness was our greatest enemy. People who slept heavily through the entire night often didn't wake up at all. Evolutionary biologists believe that early humans realized a horrifying truth very quickly. Someone always had to be awake. But how do you guarantee that a group of exhausted hunters doesn't accidentally fall asleep at the same time? You can't just ask people to take turns. The exhaustion was too deep. The stakes were too high. Our bodies had to evolve a failsafe. This is where scientists point to something called the Sentinel Hypothesis. Research suggests that ancient humans evolved to have split, staggering sleep cycles. Instead of sleeping for 8 hours straight, our ancestors likely slept in shifts, completely entirely by instinct. Some members of the tribe were biologically wired to be night owls, staying awake until 2 or 3 in the morning, keeping the fire alive, listening to the dark. Others were extreme morning larks, going to sleep right after sunset and waking up hours before dawn. But what about the dead of night? That dangerous stretch between 2 a.m. and 4 a.m.? That's when the fire burned lowest. That's when the temperature dropped. That's when the camp was most vulnerable to a silent attack. Evolution solved this problem by hardwiring a biological alarm clock into a large percentage of the population. People didn't just sleep differently, they woke up differently. Biphasic sleep, or segmented sleep, was the norm. You slept for 4 hours, woke up in the middle of the night for an hour or two, and then went back to sleep. During this midnight waking period, you would check the fire. You would listen to the perimeter. You would relieve the first watch. If a predator was testing the edges of the camp, this staggered waking time ensured that someone's eyes were always open. Waking up at 3 a.m. meant you were the night watch. It was a genetic trait that kept your family alive. The people who had this trait survived. The people who slept like rocks were eaten. Over thousands of generations, this survival mechanism was burned into our biology. Today, we live in temperature-controlled rooms. We lock our deadbolted doors. We have alarm systems. The giant bears and cave lions have been dead for 10,000 years. But your brain doesn't know that. Your brain is still patrolling the perimeter. Your brain still thinks that if you don't wake up and check the fire, something terrible will happen in the dark. So the next time your eyes snap open at 3 a.m. and the house is dead quiet, don't be frustrated. Don't fight it. You aren't broken. You're just feeling the echo of an ancient instinct. Your ancestors are tapping you on the shoulder, handing you a spear, and telling you it's your turn to watch the dark. And if you think the 3 a.m. wake-up call is strange, wait until you find out why humans are so terrified of deep water.